Well, good morning, boys and girls. It's Saturday morning. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. And I want to talk to you in this little motovlog lesson about 9 ways to get through life easier. Now, that's an intriguing subject, isn't it? Or we might say 9 ways to get in harmony with human nature. Because life's all about people. Life's all about relationships. Business is all about relationships. And I had the good fortune to work for a company most of my life that specialized in helping people build better relationships. A company that literally wrote the book on relationships. It's Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of the all-time bestsellers ever. The numbers of that book are up there with the Bible and the Boy Scout Manual. It's been used by some of the most successful people in the country because it lays out some very basic principles of human nature. And when we get in harmony with those principles, it's just amazing how easy things become. So I want to tell you really quickly what those first 9 principles are, and then I'm going to do some videos that expand on each one of them. And the beauty of these principles, for me, has always been that I'm going to meet a lot of people in my life that I don't know, and I don't know anything about them, but I'm going to need to interact with them. I'm going to need to socialize with them. I'm going to need to do business with them. I may need to supervise them or manage them. And in the beginning, I know nothing about them. But if I really understand and internalize these principles, I know 9 things about them before I ever meet them. And all I have to do is work at getting in harmony with these principles. And it'll guide my relations, my interactions with them. And it'll create a bond and a rapport. So here's what they are real quickly. Here's what I know about you before I ever meet you. Number 1, you probably don't like to be criticized. And you probably don't like to be around people who complain all the time. Number 2, you probably want to be appreciated. You want people to know what you do. You want people to be aware of your strengths. And you really like to have that pointed out. Number 3, I know that you don't do anything unless you want to do it. Everything you do in anticipation of a benefit or to avoid some pain. But you don't do anything that you don't want to do. I know that you probably want people to be interested in you. And you're probably going to respond better if I take a genuine interest in you and what you do, ask you questions, and try to get to know you. I'll probably do better with you if I do that than if I spend our whole time together talking about myself. I also know that you will probably respond to a genuine smile. It's the universal language. There's a good chance that you will smile back. I know that you like to have your name used. And I know that if I remember your name and if I use your name in conversation, I'm going to have a better chance of creating a good rapport with you. I know you want people to talk about things you're interested in, and I know that you're going to listen more intently if I'm talking about something you're interested in instead of talking about something I'm interested in. I also know that you probably like for people to really listen to what you're saying. You don't like to be interrupted mid-sentence. You want to feel that the other person is really listening to what you're saying. And finally, I know that you probably want to be important, that most of the things you do in some way satisfies your desire, your natural human desire to feel important. And if I can do anything sincerely or genuinely to make you feel important, we're going to get along just fine. Now you may say, well, that's just basic common sense. Everybody knows that. And you're probably right. It is basic common sense, and for a lot of us, it's just stuff that our mamas taught us. But you know, what's common sense is not always common practice. So I'm going to be doing a little video for the next few weeks and concentrate and expand on each of those 9 powerful human relations principles. And I would like to challenge you to do a little tune-up on yourself. You know, I like to work on cars and I love engines. And one of the things that fascinates me about an engine is an engine will continue to run when it's way out of adjustment. And there aren't too many adjustments on an engine. You might even find maybe 9, probably not that many. And all those adjustments can be way off, and that engine will still run, that car will still get you from point A to point B, but it just won't be as efficient, it won't be as enjoyable. And I was tuning up my little hot rod the other day. I put the timing light on it to check the timing, and the timing was a little bit off by a few degrees. And I just turned that distributor just a very small amount, and all of a sudden that engine settled down, smoothed out, and when I got in the car, it was so much more powerful. Just a few degrees, that's all I had to change. So what I would like to ask you to do is to do a little tune-up on yourself and see if any of these 9 principles are just a little bit out of adjustment in your life. And what can you do to bring them back into a little bit tighter adjustment? Just ask yourself, do I fall into the habit of criticizing and condemning and complaining too much? Do I fail to notice all the good things that people do, the big ones and the small ones? And do I overlook and miss a lot of opportunities to point that out? Do I miss the opportunity to catch people doing things right and let them know about it? Do I always try to figure out what other people want and figure out ways to help them get it? Or am I spending more time thinking about what I want? Do I always greet people with a genuine and sincere smile? Or do I sometimes get caught up in my own problems and I'm not aware of the frown that I might have on my face? Do I always remember people's names? Do I always use people's names in conversation? Am I a really good listener? Or do I sometimes find myself interrupting other people, or while they're talking, using all of my mental energy to formulate my response? Am I really an active listener? Do I always talk in terms of the other person's interests, or do I spend more time talking about things I'm interested in? And then finally, do I make other people feel important? Do other people feel really good about themselves when they're with me? So I think if you'll go through this checklist and be honest with yourself, you might find some opportunities here to make a few minor adjustments. And I can tell you from years of personal experience in my own life and other people's as well, that when we get all 9 of those principles in harmony with human nature, life is so much easier. Life is so much more enjoyable. We're going to be more successful. And you know, other people are going to like us a whole lot more. So we'll be talking about those one at a time and expanding on them a little bit in our next, in our upcoming series of videos. But for now, you might want to go out and buy Dale Carnegie's book, probably the best investment you'll ever make, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's online, it's in the bookstores, you can't miss it. So see you the next time, and if this resonated with you in any way, drop a few comments below, and of course, as always, subscribe. See you the next time.